Welcome back to Skytech-Lens, June 2025. The world's economic engine sputters as 7 of the globe's busiest ports abruptly cancel all shipments to the United States. This isn't a natural disaster or cyber attack, it's tariffs, wielded as economic weapons in a global showdown. The arteries of global trade are clamped shut, and the shockwaves hit every sector, especially automotive. Prices for essential car parts skyrocket, repairs are delayed, and even your project car is at risk of stalling. From massive assembly plants to local mechanics, the ripple effect is immediate and severe. In this video, we'll trace a single car parts journey through this chaos, revealing how decisions made oceans away can halt the American auto industry. Let's dive in and see just how fragile our modern world has become. On the East Coast, Port Newark Elizabeth in New Jersey is a vital link for auto parts heading to factories in the Midwest. Normally a model of efficiency, Newark is now overwhelmed as shippers reroute vessels from the jammed West Coast. Asia to East Coast container volumes are plummeting, and blank sailings, canceled port calls, are a weekly crisis. A single missed shipment of transmissions or engine blocks can halt entire assembly lines. Local distribution centers clog up, truck drivers are left waiting, and bottlenecks multiply. The just-in-time inventory model collapses under the strain, with even minor delays triggering weeks of disruption. Newark, once a symbol of steady commerce, now shows how a single pressure point can trigger system-wide failure. The port's struggle is a warning. Hyper-efficiency leaves no room for error. The entire region's auto industry is at risk, all from a few canceled ships. This is the new reality for America's supply chain. Across the Pacific, Yantian Port in Shenzhen, China, is a critical artery for US-bound exports. After tariffs hit, a frantic surge of bookings overwhelmed Yantian, creating brutal competition for space and skyrocketing shipping costs. Containers of vital auto parts, brake calipers, pistons, electronic units are bumped from ships, sometimes for weeks. Delays in China ripple across the Pacific, throwing US port, trucking, and rail schedules into chaos. Manufacturers in Shenzhen have goods ready, but they're stuck in warehouses, unable to ship or get paid. American automakers can't build cars without these parts, leaving commerce in suspended animation. Yantian's bottleneck is now a global crisis, with every delayed shipment sending shockwaves through the auto industry. The truce meant to ease tensions only fueled a stampede, clogging the world's most important export hub. The giant is gasping for air, and the global automotive industry is feeling every tremor. The lesson-one choke point can paralyze the world. The supply chain's fragility is now impossible to ignore. The port of Savannah, Georgia, once a rising star, is now buckling under the trade war's pressure. Its rapid growth made it a key hub for Southeast auto manufacturing, but blank sailings and rerouted cargo have overwhelmed its capacity. Inland rail yards are backed up, containers pile up, and a critical shortage of truck chassis grinds movement to a halt. Auto plants in Alabama and Tennessee wait for transmissions stuck in Savannah, forcing production slowdowns. The just-in-time model is broken, and companies face inventory headaches unseen in years. Savannah's infrastructure, despite heavy investment, can't keep up with this artificial demand surge. The port has become a massive, expensive parking lot for stranded cargo. Even the best-laid plans can't withstand geopolitical shocks. Savannah's success made it a prime victim, exposing the limits of growth without resilience. The Southeast's auto industry now faces a crisis that could stall its future. In the Pacific Northwest, the ports of Seattle and Tacoma, known as the Northwest Seaport Alliance, are reeling. A pre-tariff cargo surge gave way to a wave of blank sailings, turning once busy docks into ghost towns. Truck and rail traffic has plummeted, and the region's auto plants face unpredictable shortages. Local repair shops now tell customers that parts once delivered in days will take weeks or months. Independent truckers, the backbone of port logistics, are left with no loads and no income. The fallout is real: jobs lost, businesses threatened, and the region's economic health in jeopardy. Trade policy decisions in Washington, D.C. have hit the Northwest harder than any competitor ever could. The port's legendary grit is being tested by forces far beyond their control. This isn't just about numbers, it's about livelihoods. The Northwest's supply chain is under siege, and recovery is uncertain. The lesson policy can devastate as surely as any storm. The Port of Oakland, Northern California's gateway, faces its own endurance test. While some cargo was diverted north from jammed Southern California ports, Oakland was hit by a wave of blank sailings. The result, a volatile, unpredictable environment where minor gains are erased by massive disruptions. Shippers are now rerouting auto parts through Canada or Mexico, adding weeks and costs to deliveries. A part that once took 2 weeks to arrive now takes over a month, straining dealerships and repair shops. These workarounds are costly and inefficient, but there's no better option. Oakland is fighting to stay relevant as the system buckles. Customers face month-long waits for simple repairs. Even a minor port's struggles can create major headaches when the whole chain is stressed. The Bay Area's auto market is feeling every delay. The Port of Long Beach, twin to Los Angeles, is a powerhouse now thrown into turmoil. Blank sailings have slashed vessel arrivals, turning a steady flow into a sporadic trickle. Truck runs and warehouse activity have plummeted, cutting hours for workers and drivers. For the auto industry, Long Beach's delays mean shortages nationwide, from California to Arizona and Nevada. Repair shops face higher costs and longer waits, passing the pain to customers. Mechanics spend more time tracking parts than fixing cars. The entire service industry's efficiency is eroding, one delayed container at a time. Long Beach's turmoil shows how deeply interconnected the system is. The port, once a symbol of economic might, now reveals America's vulnerability. One port's crisis is everyone's problem. The Port of Los Angeles is the beating heart of America's maritime trade and the single most important gateway for auto imports. When tariffs hit, vessel arrivals plunged and blank sailings exploded, gutting the port's rhythm. Dock worker hours were slashed, terminals fell silent, and the economic engine of Southern California sputtered. For automakers, this was ground zero. Assembly lines starved for parts, production halted for want of a single sensor or harness. Even after a truce, recovery is slow. Backlogs and uncertainty keep the flow of goods constricted. The trust in trans-Pacific supply chains is shattered. The crisis at LA is a case study in how policy can cripple even the most powerful port. The heart of US auto imports has suffered a severe arrhythmia, and the whole industry feels it. The road to recovery will be long. From automakers to small garages, everyone is questioning the foundation of the global supply chain. The damage is done and the lessons are clear. America's auto industry must adapt, or risk being stalled again. We're at a crossroads for the automotive world. This 7-port saga exposes the deep fragility of our supply chains. Tariffs, not disasters, have brought the system to its knees. Automakers are rethinking sourcing, buffering stocks, and even reshoring production, moves that will reshape prices and availability for years. The impact is personal: longer waits, higher costs, and uncertainty for every car owner. How have these disruptions affected your repairs or projects? What's your biggest concern for the future? Share your stories in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel for more updates.